Hello, Instagram. Welcome if you're joining there. Hi, Facebook. I want to make sure we are, whoa, wonky camera. We are live in both places. We are good to go. All right. Welcome to your weekly Spark. Today, we're talking about how to prioritize yourself when you have no time. Today is a self care day. Go out and vote. It is election day. Obviously, everyone, I think, is aware of this at this point. Definitely some high tensions, a lot of feelings, a lot of things. More than ever on days like today, take care of yourself. So that's why I decided to talk about this idea of prioritization and specifically prioritizing yourself, especially when you feel like you have no time. So 2020, I don't have to be the one to say it, has been a year where everything is turned on its head. Time management, therefore, has been turned on its head. Maybe you're homeschooling, you're balancing the intermingling of work and life more than ever. Maybe you're balancing infinite Zoom calls. I know definitely at the beginning, there were so many personal Zoom calls. Friend groups were getting together that haven't talked maybe in that way in a really long time. And so, how do we manage work plus personal life plus social life? That's all virtual now. Plus, managing being with our partners or our family at home when typically we had a little bit more space from each other. Your own health. How do you keep yourself healthy? Especially when you don't have as easy access to something like a gym, maybe where you had already built a routine. All of this was flipped on its head in 2020. And even before 2020, but especially now, there's been this question of how do we prioritize ourselves in the midst of all of this? How do we take our own needs and make sure that they are being met above I want to say above everything else. Of course, other things are important. And the saying goes, our cup has to be full before we share with others. So today I'm going to share how no matter what, no matter how busy you think you are, no matter how little time you think you are, it is possible to live a balanced lifestyle and to put your needs first and take care of yourself in the midst of all of this when considering three important elements: mindset, systems, and circumstantial change. I will share 7 immediate things you can implement in relation to mindset, systems, and circumstantial change today after this mini workshop, this mini live. And the outcome of this is being able to live the life that you've always imagined. So, myself, for instance, I'm writing a book, I'm running a membership, I have my one on one clients, I'm creating content for Yes And. I have an amazing partner. I have a dog that I take to the dog park and spend hours training and working with and playing with each day. Family vacation. I just went to Montana for a full week and took that time off, managing a team, prepping and delivering speaking events like the one on Thursday. All of this is happening, and I still find at least an hour a day to move my body. I still am cooking home cooked meals. I still am finding time to be outside every single day, and nourishing myself and meditating and listening to audiobooks and all of this. So I very much feel like I have struck my own balance, and your balance is going to look different. The point is, it's possible. It is possible to prioritize yourself no matter what is on your plate. All right, so let's start right off the bat with mindset. And like I said, I'll be sharing 7 takeaways in these 3 categories: mindset, systems, and circumstantial change. So we're starting with mindset. One thing you can immediately implement, maybe a little caveat on immediate implementation, I'll share in a second, is a morning routine. Why I say a caveat is because it took me a really long time to set up my own morning routine. So if that's the case for you, don't worry. I will share some tips in a second on how to make that happen. But the reason this is important for prioritizing yourself is because this is what sets the rest of your day. And so if you prioritize yourself first thing in the morning, if you are the first thing that you take care of, that has an impact on the rest of your day. That sets the tone for the rest of your day. Start it right. Start your day right. Start your day with you. Fill up your cup. And a few tips on if that feels daunting: take small steps, bite-sized things. So maybe it's like putting lotion on your hands in the morning, right when you get out of bed. Maybe it's starting a skincare routine. Maybe it's going on a walk. Maybe it's taking one deep breath. You guys, a morning routine does not have to be this hour, 2 hour long endeavor. It can be, certainly, if you want it to be. And mine takes about 30-45 minutes. So to share what I do, if you're interested, I get up and I make a smoothie and then I journal. While Otto, my dog, who I've trained to be calm during that time, because then we take him to the dog park. But it used to be that I was so anxious about getting him outside and getting him to the dog park right away. And this is the case whether you have kids, whether you have a dog, whether you have a partner, whether you have work. These things can come into our minds as being the first thing we have to do that day. But once we do that, if that's our first instinct in the morning and we enact that instinct, then what is the rest of the day going to be, right? That sets the tone. So instead, I challenged myself, and I'm now in very much the routine of doing so. I make myself my smoothie and I journal out my mindset work right away in the morning, and it has been a huge game changer. Another quick tip, if you're struggling with morning routine, is to add an element of external motivation. And I'll share more about that when we get to the circumstantial change category, but keep that in mind that if it feels really hard, there may be a way to bypass the difficulty by adding this external motivator as well. Internal motivation is good too, but I imagine that you already have that if you want to implement a morning routine. All right. Sorry, one more piece about the mindset. Not sorry, but we're going on a little bit of a tangent here with the morning routine. And that is that in the morning, what I also implement, and a great way, especially when it comes to prioritization, to implement that into your morning routine is to set one thing for your day. So all of us have more than one thing that we do each day, whether it's personal or business. However, if there were one thing, just one thing that you did today, what would it be? The most important thing. And sometimes this is really big, like, I don't know, maybe it's a full day workshop, right? Like I want to show up fully for my clients for this full day workshop, or, it feels big, but it could also be something really tiny. So for instance, I want to make sure I reply to that one email today. Like that is the thing. Or I want to make sure that I get outside for a minute today. That is the one thing. So that's been also something that's been really helpful in terms of prioritization and links directly with self-care, because you're asking yourself what is most important for you and choosing that one thing right away in the morning. That feeds also into the rest of your day because it allows you to make decisions easier because you've already made the decision in a sense, right? If you're ever at a crossroads and you're saying, do I do this or do I do this? Where do I focus my attention? Or you notice that you're feeling scattered, come back to that one thing. And if you've set the one thing, then you have the one thing to come back to. All right, now moving on to the second strategy of 2 for this mindset category, which is your belief systems around time. So how do you prioritize yourself if you have no time? It's starting on the second half of that phrase. You have to believe that you have enough time for yourself. And this takes time, ironically, to shift if you're already in a headspace of I don't have enough time. And so one mantra that's been really helpful for me that I offer to my clients as well is there is always enough time. And if that doesn't feel believable for you, you could try it on and just see what happens. Have an evidence log where you're looking for reasons, you're intentionally looking to prove that as if it were true, just to put yourself in the experiment, right? Because chances are, if you think there's never enough time, you've never really looked for the evidence to suggest there is enough time. That's how our brains work. And if it's not believable, there's always enough time, then I am all for taking baby steps and trying on a belief, adopting a belief that does feel believable, that feels a little bit like a stretch, but that you can believe so that you already start to grow in this area, in this mindset. So if you can't believe, if it feels too far off to say there's always enough time, maybe to say there's often enough time, or maybe to say I have enough time to reply to my one email, or I have enough time to do this one thing, right? So start in bite-sized chunks, something that you can believe, but the point is to change your belief about time. There's something in psychology called the self-fulfilling prophecy. I'm talking about this in the SN Experience this month when we're talking about financial mindset. And the self-fulfilling prophecy is that what you believe about yourself becomes your reality. It is studied through psychology. So a good example, one that was the most shocking for me when I first learned about this, was if students are told that they are gifted students before taking a test, they will perform better than had they been told nothing, or of course, than had they been told they are not gifted students, right? Like and this goes subconsciously too. So women, for instance, are often not encouraged. It's starting to change, which is good. But historically haven't been the stereotypical demographic to enter STEM. So science, math, and before science and math tests, if women already have this subconscious belief that has been put on them by society, they aren't going to perform as well as men simply because they have the self-fulfilling prophecy of I'm not good at math. And if you believe you're not good at math, same thing. You will perform worse on tests because you're not good at math. Your behaviors will change accordingly as well. How you study, as in addition to the test, how you prepare for that test. So this goes for time as well. If you believe you never have enough time, or you're bad at task management, or you can't prioritize yourself, or you never prioritize yourself, you put everyone else first, that becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, and you create that reality. So you believe it, you look for reasons why it's true, cognitive dissonance, another psych phenomena, and you create it. You actively create that subconsciously and consciously because it's your belief system. So if you want more time for yourself, if you want to prioritize yourself, start by believing that it's possible and start by changing your beliefs about time and how much time you have. Okay, moving on to the second category, systems for how to prioritize yourself even if you think you have no time, especially if you feel like you have no time. So 2 more immediate things you could implement into your life today with regard to systems. The first is to automate. Reduce your decision fatigue and automate what you can in your life. A few of my favorite examples are Acuity or any scheduling system. So whenever I schedule, whether it's a phone call with a friend, even with my parents sometimes, I've been known to do this, but especially with my clients and with anyone that I'm collaborating with, networking with, I have a scheduling service. I send them a link and then they find a time that works with their calendar. Seamless. Works so well. I have different calendar invites based on length of time, or Zoom versus phone versus in person. Rarely in person these days, but it makes it so simple. And then it's automatically in my calendar, and I have my calendars sync so that it automatically doesn't overbook me with things. I know what availability I set for them as well. So I have this ease of mind that if I'm networking, if I'm trying to schedule something, that's taken care of automatically. Same with my coaching consults. So on my website, if you're interested in 6 months of one-on-one coaching, you have access to 45 minutes of free time with me for us to chat about whether that's something that you might want to do. And that link is automatically on my calendar. And so appointments just pop up in my calendar for when someone books a consult with me. So easy and reduces decision fatigue for sure, because it's just set and then someone else has the autonomy to choose when it works for them, and it's automatic. It's automated. The second automated thing that I do that I love and highly recommend for everyone is automated calendar tasks. So this doesn't necessarily have to be on Google Calendar or online. I have some clients and some members in the SEN experience, because we did scheduling in August, that automate via their paper calendars. So they have sticky notes, or they have color coordinated, where certain chunks of the day are automatically scheduled to do a task that you know you have to do, or to reserve that time. I spoke about that in brief when I was talking about scheduling. So I know that my client time blocks are, midday and then later in the late afternoon, evening. So those are when I can know that clients will be booking times in my calendar, and those are blocked off. I don't schedule myself for other business tasks during that time, because I already know I've set that availability and it's automated. Same if I know that I do something every week. So this, for instance, every single Tuesday, 10:30 a.m. Central Time, I'm popping live on IG Live and on Facebook and re-uploading to YouTube. So I reserve 45 minutes in my calendar at 10:30 a.m. every Tuesday, and it's a recurring event. Automated. I don't have to reschedule that every single week. And what that allows me to do is to also automate when I'm prioritizing myself. So I know what things are set, and therefore, another thing I automate, for instance, I can automate my movement schedule. So when am I physically moving my body? every day at 3:15 p.m. and that is a recurring automated event in my calendar. I don't have to think about it. I don't have to make a decision, and it is me prioritizing me without even having to think about it because it's automated in my calendar. Of course, there's the little caveat or asterisk where you then have to follow your calendar, right? Follow through with the promises that you set up for yourself, but at least they're there and blocked off for you. The second system tip of 2 for how to prioritize yourself when you have no time is to set boundaries. So, a few systems of how I set boundaries. One is my CRM. I use Less Annoying CRM. There are many out there. This is how I track follow-up. This is how I track my emails. This is how I track my clients. I have a CRM because I can link a task to a specific person to a specific date. So, if I receive an email at Saturday night when I just finished working and I opened it, this is one of my pet peeves, and I maybe forget to make it unread again, or whatever the case is, but I don't want to reply to it in that moment because I'm done working, right? Saturday night. Then I set in my CRM real quick, reply to this email, link it to a person, link it to a date. Same with follow-up. If I want to follow up with someone in January, I can right now today put it in my CRM, follow up with this person on this date in January, and then I don't have to think about it ever again. What does this have to do with prioritizing yourself? It means that I have the bandwidth and I have the space to say, no, this isn't a good time for me to reply, or yes, this is a good time for me to reply, or this other time is when I am going to reply. And between now and then, I don't have to think about it. I can think about other things, such as other elements of my business, other clients, other immediate tasks, and myself, taking care of myself. Another, 2 other components, similar idea for setting boundaries through a system is Boomerang, or a similar service, which is you can send emails and actually write them up and send them, but schedule them out so that if, for instance, I'm deciding to work on a Sunday or after work hours and I don't want someone to receive this email until another day or another hour or months out from now, I can still do it in the time that feels good for me and then automate it and schedule it to send out later. So it's already done, again, off my mind. I don't have to think about it, and it's already done though and taken care of, and I know it's going to happen. So Boomerang is that email system. And the last one for setting boundaries through a system is notifications. I watched The Social Dilemma recently. Maybe you've seen it on Netflix. Shook me a little bit. And I know there are some mixed, I was just talking to a friend who said, I think it was a little fear based, and so up to you whether you watch it or not. The point is, everyone knows our phones and our computers and our notifications are through the roof these days. And we have to be really intentional about setting a boundary so that it doesn't intrude into our life when we don't choose for it to intrude. Let me reframe that a little bit. You don't have to, but if you aren't intentional about setting that boundary, these notifications are going to intrude into your life and into every minute of your day. So what I do is I have automated, again, on my phone, notifications are turned off between, I think, 8 p.m. and 9 a.m. Between that time, I don't receive phone notifications ever. Doesn't make a sound because I need to sleep and I need to de-stress and not look at my phone. Same on Forever. I only have the little badge app icon for emails, for text messages, for all of that, so that it's not dinging and interrupting my train of thought and interrupting whatever I'm doing in that moment. Again, this is about setting boundaries. And because I have a recurring calendar event to check my emails, I know that I'm going to reply to those emails, but I have a dedicated time, a boundaried time to reply to those emails rather than them interfering with how I intend my day to flow. So those are 3 very specific things that you can implement specifically related to setting boundaries, specifically related to systems, so that you can prioritize yourself. CRM, Boomerang, and notifications. All right, let's do a little summary real quick before moving on to the final element of how you can prioritize yourself, even if you feel like you have no time. We started with mindset. 2 things in mindset: set a morning routine, and then work on your time beliefs. Systems, 2 things: automate what you can, scheduling and calendar are the 2 things that I provided, and then systems, or boundaries, CRM, Boomerang, and notifications. So for the last big thing that you can do today is circumstantial change. I mentioned this earlier when I was talking about morning routine, and it took me a long time to create a morning routine. I mentioned sometimes an external motivator can be really helpful when it comes to creating a morning routine or implementing any personal care strategy. So the story goes, I tried to implement a morning routine forever. I tried journaling. I tried like sipping coffee. I tried reading a book, doing like a meditation, all these different things that I thought would be good for me. and they were. And sometimes I got into a flow. I went for like a few weeks when it would work, but then they always fell out. And I was really self-critical of myself rather than self-compassion, which actually works better for goal attainment. But I was very self-critical of myself until I got a dog. And dogs are very much in a schedule. They're in a routine. A lot of you, if you are a dog owner, experienced this with the time change this weekend. Otto was looking at me at 4 p.m., thinking it was 5 p.m., saying, "Where's my dinner?" They are very much in a routine. And so this external motivator forced me, for lack of a better term, to set this morning routine. I had to journal within a 30-minute window. Otherwise, Otto was going to wreck my carpet before the dog park. I had something else that was holding me accountable to my morning routine. So this doesn't have to be getting a dog or having a baby or having a traditional job where you have to show up for work at a specific time. This can be any external thing. Maybe it's a phone notification. Maybe it's an accountability partner, just a friend that you text in the morning to say, "Hey, I did it." Maybe it's a coach that you text to say, "Hey, I did my morning routine that I'm starting." Maybe it's a sticky note, something external that reminds you to do what you set to do for yourself, how you set to take care of yourself and prioritize yourself. And I share that because, again, it took me a long time to set a morning routine, and it took me a long time to prioritize myself in that way. And again, I was critical on myself for a time, and it was so easy once I adopted a dog. And again, not to say everyone has to adopt a dog, but it goes to show that sometimes, no matter how much mindset work we do, no matter how much we intend to do something, it's helpful to have something external. So add that into your arsenal of tools for how you can also prioritize yourself, is have some external thing to help you prioritize yourself. Another one of my clients was talking, another tip from one of my clients who was talking with me last week during our session. She shared that she was exploring this idea that not all time is created equal. And so a good example that came to mind when I was hearing that is the time that I was working a part-time job, but my energy was so drained working that part-time job. And not all time is created equal is this concept that some tasks are energy giving, life giving, we gain energy from them, and some of them are draining. And to look at your day and to prioritize yourself by intentionally focusing your day on when to do certain tasks, knowing that some of them are going to drain your energy, some of them are going to give you energy. And furthermore, if some of them are draining your energy enough, prioritize yourself by eliminating that external thing if you can. So circumstantial change, changing your circumstance. So that part-time job that completely drained my energy, I quit that job after a short time because I realized how much it was impacting me. And I was able to prioritize myself, but not to the extent that was healthy or sustainable for me. So notice when there are elements in your circumstance that you can change, that you might want to change if they are inhibiting your ability to prioritize yourself. That was a lot of information. I gave 7 things that you can immediately implement into your life based on mindset, based on systems, based on circumstantial change. And it was a lot. So if you want to explore this further, I have a time management workshop this Thursday. That's November 5th at 11 a.m. You can register for free. It's in partnership with SCORE, which is an amazing organization for business owners. But even if you're not a business owner, what I'm presenting and the tools that I'm presenting in that workshop are absolutely applicable for you. I share my goal inventory and my time inventory. There are 2 ways that I focus my week, that I start and end each week, and that I incorporate within those systems prioritizing myself, because you are your world. Like, without you, you can't work. Without you, you can't have relationships. So we need to start prioritizing ourselves even more. Again, going back all the way to the beginning of this workshop, this mini workshop, this weekly spark, especially on days like today and on weeks like this week where external things are happening, our worlds are changing, emotions are high, and how are you going to take care of yourself proactively and within moments like this? So that's what we're covering in my workshop on Thursday is the goal inventory, the time inventory that takes that into account and creates a weekly routine. If you're interested, there's a link in my Instagram bio if you're watching on Instagram. If you're watching elsewhere, check out Instagram, Yes And by Marin, all one word. Or head on to my website, yesandbymarin.com, and you will find information about that time management workshop. So join me on Thursday if you want to learn more. Otherwise, take just one thing, bite-sized thing from today, whatever of the 7 resonated with you or whatever of the little buckets resonated with you, mindset, systems, or circumstantial change, and implement one thing into your day today. I challenge you to do it today. No better time like the present, and especially on election day. Go out and vote if you haven't already. And next week, we'll be back with another weekly spark at 10:30 a.m. Central Time every Tuesday morning. And this month in the Yes And Experience, we're talking about financial alignment. So we're already in the flow of that. Next month in December, we're talking about how to set boundaries without the guilt. Very applicable to prioritizing yourself. If you want to learn more about the Yes And Experience, that's my group program, yesandbymarin.com/experience. Otherwise, I'll see you next Tuesday, and maybe some of you see you on Thursday for the time management workshop. Have a wonderful rest of your Tuesday. Go vote. Talk to you soon.